Us versus them. In neuromarketing terms, our brains are hardwired to want to be in one or more groups. Brands that can be positioned to put their customers into a group will find that their efforts will be enhanced by their customers' own need to belong. In addition, the brand's customers will likely cultivate a dislike for other brand groups. Jumping back to Apple, look how they have leveraged an us versus them approach for decades. Their 1984 commercial certainly drew a sharp distinction between the lone, attractive, athletic young woman and the lines of brainwashed drones. A year later, Apple's creepy and somewhat depressing Lemmings commercial continued to push people into one of two camps. They again portrayed Windows, PC, users as mindless, in this case as blindfolded business people functioning like suicidal rodents following each other off a cliff. Lemmings, by the way, aren't actually suicidal. They do engage in mass migration, though, and occasionally enter a body of water that proves too challenging to swim across. Fast forwarding to recent times, we have the wildly popular I'm a Mac versus I'm a PC ads. These ads draw a sharp distinction. Do you want to be one of the cool kids or a dork? Compare people, not products. Note the common characteristic of these and many other Apple commercials. They focus on the people who use each product. These ads convey little or no actual product information and instead mock PC users while portraying Apple users in a favorable way. Certainly, other brands have successfully exploited this concept, both directly and indirectly. Could the surprising results that showed Coke-branded cola lit up people's brains more than Pepsi, whether or not the beverage tasted was Coke or Pepsi, be a result of more people thinking of themselves as a Coke person versus a Pepsi person? The famous Pepsi Generation campaign was all about establishing Pepsi drinkers as a desirable group, young, attractive, fun, although in the long run, Coke has held its leading position. Car and truck makers haven't worked the us versus them angle very much in their ads, but their owner base has certainly picked up on the theme. Truck owners in particular seem to consider themselves part of groups, as shown by the ongoing animosity between Chevy drivers and Ford drivers. Our customers are different, better. Although the us versus them strategy works better when products are visible to others, cars, apparel, cigarettes, etc., there is no reason why it can't be used by any brand that people feel at least a little attached to. It's critical to make your customers feel different and to interact with them in a way that makes that more credible than a passing ad slogan. The Etsy approach. Although Etsy, the phenomenal web success story in the arts and crafts market, wouldn't seem to have much in common with a mega brand like Apple, founder Rob Kalin has emulated Steve Jobs in at least one way. Etsy's key customers are actually the thousands of artists who choose to sell their wares on Etsy, and Kalin has appealed to this group by positioning himself on their side against big business. Even as Etsy itself turns into a huge enterprise, Kalin calls himself not CEO, but crafter-in-chief, and talks about the big companies that all us small businesses are teaming up against. This rhetoric seems laughable for a company that has raised tens of millions of dollars in venture capital, but so far it seems to be working. It's us, Etsy and the artists, against them, the suits and big business.